TAFF's Cast, a brief but enlightening conversation with some of the most fascinating people in the futurist movement. My name is Tom Ross, and I am the president and CEO of TAFF's. And I am honored today to have Professor Marwala, who is the Vice Chancellor and Principal of the University of Johannesburg, and is nominated in our TAFF's Futurist Leaders category. Now, one reason for this nomination is because he champions tech advancement in Africa through academia, and he's a driving force behind the 4IR implementation in South Africa as part of the Presidential Commission. So now I could go on and on about the man's accomplishments, but we only have half an hour with him, so you can find out more about him online if you don't know already. Professor, thank you so much for joining us here today.
No, thank you very much, Tom, for inviting me to come and speak to your audience.
Well, we really appreciate your time. Now, 4IR stands for Fourth Industrial Revolution. And so will you outline for us what this effort is and what you hope to accomplish with 4IR?
Well, 4IR is obviously the Fourth Industrial Revolution. It's a term that was coined by the World Economic Forum, specifically the executive chairman of the World Economic Forum. It is basically a characterization of the rapid technological developments that are happening because of the infusion of intelligence into machines through artificial intelligence. So I am quite interested in the area of artificial intelligence. So that is why I've been appointed to talk about it.
Yeah, that's I first became aware of you with your TEDx talk on rational machines, which is a fascinating talk because that's kind of an area I'm very interested in and I do some consulting in.
No, absolutely, absolutely. I'm very interested in machine rationality because I actually find that machines are more rational than human beings. As a matter of fact, I have an upcoming book on rational machines.
I look forward to that. I was really fascinated with the analogy you had with your grandmother and making the pots and the qualia that she had to use to know what was a good pot or not, you know, with the vibrational stimuli and things like that. And, you know, but as humans, our machines break down a lot quicker than an AI or an automated machine. And so, yeah, it's very fascinating. So as you're working through this with the 4IR in South Africa specifically, are you also working to open tech centers in places like Rwanda? Is there an effort to actually open centers of technology or education with this initiative?
So I think one of the things that interests me the most, the generation of ideas, the most difficult part is how do you mobilize the venture capital for you to be able to take those tech ideas into the marketplace. I have actually been quite impressed with the innovation ecosystem in Rwanda. As a matter of fact, I am the chairman of the Africa Center on Internet of Things, which is a government agency that is based in Rwanda.
Yeah, you know, I was there a year ago this week.
So I think it is very important. I think, a beautiful place. So, so what we need to do is to make sure that our people, you know, we expand on the gains that we have made, the startup culture that you find, and to some extent, is actually expanded.
Yeah, and that's one thing we're really, with TAFF's, what we're trying to do is we're really focused on the younger generation there because as you know, Africa has the youngest population on earth with a a median age of 18 to 19-year-olds. And as I mentioned, when I was there last year at the Youth Connect conference, it was just so inspiring because they're just so many bright and excited and techno-optimistic people there, and they were from all over the continent. So it was very exciting, and it's really what inspired me to accept the honor of this position with TAFFD. And so one thing that we're trying to do is really to facilitate and give a platform to young people who many of which don't have the resources to go for advanced degrees or the experience necessary to be recognized for their ideas. And so that's why an initiative like you're involved in is so intriguing to us for our members there. So is there a way that a group like us, an organization like us, can really combine with you and work to really facilitate young people or just bright people, who have great ideas? That's what we're really interested in doing, is finding good, strong partnerships with very forward-thinking groups, and to help our members there in Africa.
Absolutely. I think I would, firstly, I really appreciate your invitation to partner, and it's something that I would be quite interested in. And let's do it because it is really about the young people. How do we get the young people to come and participate in all these developments that are happening that they have to be part of?
Yeah.
So I absolutely welcome that.
Yeah. So you were talking about any initiatives that you're working on right now?
Yeah. So basically, what we are doing now, the Fourth Industrial Revolution Commission has finished South Africa's strategy in this matter. So what we are doing is the implementation of the strategy. What are some of the key recommendations? The first one is human capacity development in areas around artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, blockchain, and so on and so forth. How do we get our young people to be skilled? And this is one area where we are looking for international partnerships, where we can be able to partner to skill our young people on a massive scale. Mm-hmm. I think that is very important. Secondly, South Africa is establishing the National Artificial Intelligence Institute that is going to identify and promote the application of artificial intelligence in all areas of our lives, whether it is in agriculture, whether it is in manufacturing. And in fact, last month, we had the AI dialogue, where we invited all stakeholders, banks, manufacturing entities from South Africa and from beyond. There were people from Facebook, there were people from Google, to make sure that we can be able to identify opportunities that artificial intelligence can offer to South Africa. The other recommendation is around data. As you know, Africa has 1.3 billion people, and it does not have a good control of its data. Twitter, Facebook, and others are here, and they are essentially operating outside our regulatory framework. And the issue of how these technologies can be regulated is very, very important. I currently sit on a committee that is devising a regulatory framework for the use of AI in medicine. It's a committee of the World Health Organization with people from all over the world, including United States, coming together. It's a small committee of about 15 people to regulate. So the issue of data regulation in Africa is very important. It is politically much more challenging to do it in the African continent because you have 54 countries, even though 2 of them are disputed, Somaliland and one part of Morocco. So this is what we are working on. We are basically preparing our society to implement the recommendations that we've devised for the South African government.
Yeah, that's very exciting because that's really right what we're trying to do as well. What we are trying to set ourselves up as is a separate sort of accrediting organization where we will identify and seek out young people with great ideas and bright minds who may not have the resources to pursue advanced degrees, and certify them in a way, may have them meet certain criteria so that they can be taken seriously by outside companies and organizations, or inside companies and organizations. So like everywhere in the world, Africa is deep into this lacuna. They're deep into this space between the industrial age and the post-work era. And so a lot of the work that we do is not only to help train young people about technology, and we've got some really strong members there in Africa that are doing this, but also helping them remember what it's like to be human, or to hone in on certain uniquely human skill sets, because automation and AI will take over all these menial tasks, and it'll take over all the repetitive functions that young people specifically used to rely on to survive. But now we also have all these platforms like YouTube and just different types of platforms where they can monetize their hobbies or monetize those uniquely human skill sets. So that's another big part of this, not only training them up for technology, but reminding them about the very specific human qualities that an AI could augment. And so do you have, think about that with the post-work era? What will people be doing, or what are the uniquely human skill sets that we should be developing?
No, absolutely. I do think about that quite extensively, because what is actually going to happen is that some jobs are simply going to disappear. And jobs have been disappearing in the past. I mean, if you go into history, and you will realize that elevators, or we call them lifts here in South Africa, you used to have elevator minders in the 50s and the 40s, you know. Now you don't have that, because that process has been automated, at least partially automated, so that you can be able to decide to press which floor you are going to. Then the second aspect that is going to happen is that new jobs, existing jobs, are also going to change. I mean, there was a cover article on The Economist, which was basically saying that the artificial intelligence is able to read medical images better than well-trained radiologists. Now, what is the role of a radiologist going into the future? It is quite clear that you as a patient, or any other person, that they probably would like to interact with you, a human being, when it comes to issues of health. What this means is that a doctor will have to increasingly use technological gadgets in order to help them do what they do. That in itself is not new. A stethoscope has been around for more than 100 years. It was a device. The difference between a stethoscope and the devices of today is that the devices of today are doing things that for a long time we always thought they were just human tasks, because they involved thinking. Now, when you have a technology that can help you think, then you have to retrain people to be able to work with machines. Then the third aspect that is going to happen is that new jobs are going to emerge. New jobs that did not exist 40 years ago. There was no such a job spec as a data analyst, but a data analyst now is a necessary profession. So we need to prepare our people for all this, you know. And there are people who are saying, no, man, this new revolution in which we are, called the 4IR, is going to decimate jobs, more jobs than it is going to create. And what do we do about it? Bill Gates, the American entrepreneur, Bill Gates thinks we should start taxing robots. I don't know how you can do that, because robotics is so ubiquitous in our ways of doing things that we have this imaginary image of a robot. Normally, it is it is a humanoid. But many of our softwares, whether it is even Microsoft's Word, has robotic features that allows you to do automatic spell checks and automatic saving and all those things that were always a problem in the past. So we have been thinking about that. I particularly have been thinking about that. I've been writing about that. How do we claim the new space for the future? In fact, just recently, I've just published a book called Closing the Gap. How do we close the gap between the technological developments that are happening and the disruptions of our society and all aspects of our lives, and what do we do about it?
Yeah, that's right where I am too. What I do, and I consult with companies before they bring in an AI system or automation, so that the employees don't work against it. So it's all about getting the employees into that as their expert frame of mind, their niche expertise, and we all have one, and they rarely have anything to do with our job titles. You know, I use the example a lot that there's a receptionist, and by day she just assumed the receptionist, but at night she could be a classically trained cellist. And so I come in and we get people into those frames of mind, and all of a sudden everybody's more qualified to be in the room. But I talk about that a lot, even with my sons. I say, even if you don't get into AI, even if you don't get into computers, at least take a course in it, because it will be taking over whatever industry you do get into. My son is kind of pre-med. He's going toward the veterinarian track, we think, so far. And I said, just know that any diagnostics are going to be handled. And within 10 years, you're not going to need to do that. But we will always need that doctor or that human touch to verify whatever the data comes back as. And I think that's what we need to. And like you mentioned, every time one of these major industrial revolutions has happened, there have been whole other economies that grow up around these innovations. And I think right now that's why I am pushing for young people to identify that niche expertise, so that they can become shepherds of these AI. And it's all about problem finding more so than problem solving. This problem solving is going to be handled. Now it's about how to find problems and how to describe the problem to an AI to solve. So this is all a very exciting, very challenging time that we're in right now. We know how busy you are, and I won't want to keep you too much longer, because you're out there fixing the future just like we are. So if you have anything else you want to add, we will definitely send us links to your upcoming books, because we want to definitely read those and help you promote those, because that's very important stuff.
No, thank you very much. I wish you all the best, and I'm looking forward for us to enter into some conversation on how we can partner together to take this conversation forward to the rest of the African continent. So where are you now?
Right now I'm in Colorado. In America.
Colorado.
Colorado. It's 2 a.m. It's 2:30 in the morning here.
And which part of Colorado are you in? Boulder?
We're south of Denver. I'm between Denver and Colorado Springs, the Black Forest area.
I've been to Denver. You know.
Yeah?
No, thanks.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate your time, and we will be in contact.
Okay, bye.
That was a great conversation. I appreciate his time, and we will be following up with 4IR, and we will be sharing any links to the 4IR initiative and any books that he is putting out, because this is very important stuff, and he's right there in it. So we're very excited to have had this conversation with him. So thank you for joining us for this conversation, and keep an eye out for the edited version of it. Then we take out all the weirdness and the irrational machines that were playing with us here. So thanks again for watching TAFF's Cast. I'm Tom Ross, and we look forward to seeing you again.